Hello everyone, and welcome back to another adventure. So this is going to be a separate Planet Coaster series from my Silver Dollar City one, which I will cover a little bit more in a little bit. This one is going to be building a recreation of Sheikra at Busch Gardens, Tampa. So let's just jump right into this. So, we are now in the park. So yeah, this series is going to be building Sheikra, a B&M dive coaster at Busch Gardens, Tampa. I've done a couple of recreation projects in the past. I never really finished. There were a couple of old videos that I took down a while back about building Ghost Rider and Twisted Timbers. They were really kind of bad and choppy, and I didn't really put the time and effort into them that I want to do with this series. So that's why those are kind of gone. But I didn't post any videos, or I posted a little bit on my Instagram, I think, of me building Maverick at Cedar Point. And that was a fun project, and I was able to get that one finished. And I thought about it, and I was kind of like, you know what? I love Sheikra. And why not try and build it in Planet Coaster? Because it should be a fun project. And it does have some nice pathing and not, like theming so much as some other buildings around it, like a train station. It has the splashdown. It goes over. It's got some nice path interaction. Let's put it that way. As for the other Planet Coaster series that I started doing on this channel a while back, with Silver Dollar City, that is not building the official park if you have not seen it. It's building my own custom park with the name Silver Dollar City. But, or no, not Silver Dollar City, I'm sorry. Flying Eagle Preserve. It was inspired by Silver Dollar City. But that park, I started to build more, and as I built, I was kind of not really happy with how it was going, like the direction it was going in. So I didn't remove everything, but I rebuilt everything that I built new, and still wasn't happy with it. So I figured I would take a break from doing that project and work on something else. And maybe once I'm done with this one, then that project may come back. I may try and revisit it again and see if maybe, I don't know, it'll start going in the right direction now that I have taken a break from doing it. Now, as for this video, I got through doing all of the initial track work. So the initial layout, I got the color scheme right. The next one, and maybe even next two, depending on how long it takes me to do so, is just going to be all custom supporting. Because this ride is going to need full custom supporting, and I've actually already started doing custom supporting. Like this video is going to come out later after I'd already started working further into the project. But and that's coming along pretty well. You'll see that in the next episode. But instead of like with the Silver Dollar City project, where I would show you all my progress after, I wanted to show you the build process of this, because this, to me, is a little bit more interesting. Like, seeing trying to build a coaster that already exists in real life in a game, which it's fun for me, and I hope that you guys enjoy the series. If you'll notice some of these, like, long pauses that was me checking either Sheikra POV or off-ride photos or aerial photos to make sure I'm getting the layout right, the timing of the drop right, and things of that nature. But with this series, I also want to talk a little bit, like about news in the community, as far as like, the coaster community, what parks are announcing, that type of stuff. Not just focusing on the game, kind of what I've done recently as far as like the parks. And something that I actually did just yesterday, as of when I'm recording the audio for this, was visit the Florida State Fair. And it's a fair that I visit every year, and yeah, it was as good as every other year has been. It's just a really fun fair. It's unfortunately over now. Yesterday, President's Day, Monday the 19th, is the last day of the fair every year. But it's a very fun fair if you're in the area. It's very worthwhile if you ever thought about checking it out. It's in Tampa, just south of Busch Gardens. They actually have the world's largest traveling Ferris wheel, and you can see Busch Gardens, Tampa from the top of the Ferris wheel, which is actually, for me, it's neat and awesome to see because, I love that park. It's one of my home parks. But they had some really good food this year. They had like a pulled pork burrito with mac and cheese, and that was absolutely awesome. They always have good shows. The Lumberjack show is funny. They had some extreme motocross stunt riders, which was cool. They had a bubble guy. And then they always have, like the different art exhibits and everything. Plus they have a permanent sky ride on top of the, typical carnival rides, flat top rides, and the couple of crappy, roller coasters that they have at the fairs. Also, something, kind of big that's going on in the coaster community right now as far as the Florida parks go is Mardi Gras. So most of the parks in Florida right now, obviously not Disney because they never really do Mardi Gras. They more do their own festivals, Flower and Garden and Festival of the Arts. But Universal's doing Mardi Gras, and theirs runs until April 7th. So that's a really long event, and very worthwhile. The parade I have not seen yet. I'm hoping to go, not this weekend that I'm recording this, not this upcoming one, but the next one, so the first weekend in March. Hopefully, actually, I should be going the Sunday after this video comes out. I will not be filming anything, but I do hope to get on a parade float, doing the float riding, because that seems really cool. The food this year, I only tried one item so far, and yeah, it was pretty good. It's always nice to walk around, enjoy the music, enjoy the smells of the food coming from the food booths. And then Busch Gardens, Tampa, also has Mardi Gras. Theirs only runs until March 3rd. I also have gone and done that event this year. And again, it's nice to walk around the park, hear the Mardi Gras music, walk through the more Mardi Gras dedicated area, and smell the food. Some of the food there, I tried 5 items, and that was pretty good. The food wasn't as good as Universal, in my opinion, but it was still very good. But if you ever get a chance to visit the Florida parks during Mardi Gras and are considering, whether or not, should I do it, should I not, definitely do it. If the park has it, you don't have to go and buy a food tasting lanyard or anything, but just take a little bit and enjoy some of the festivities going on for Mardi Gras. Now, as for construction updates kind of around at least the Florida parks, I'm not completely privy to what's happening out of state, but right now we have 2 new coasters being built at both Busch Gardens Tampa, that being Phoenix Rising, a B&M family inverted coaster, and that is not moving very fast. They just got track on site as far as like in their storage lot, and yeah, they're not really moving very fast. The last time I was there, it was all just land clearing and footers. No supports, no vertical construction yet. So hopefully they're able to start doing vertical construction soon because, yeah, the thing was supposed to open in spring of this year. I don't foresee that happening. I mean, it could, depending on how fast they get it up and get tested, but I really don't think that's going to happen this year. Or not so much this year. I think it will open this year. It's not going to happen this spring. More like early to midsummer, I would say. Maybe June or July, something like that. Now, over at SeaWorld Orlando, we have Penguin Trek, a B&M family launch coaster, and that all the track work has been completed. No testing yet, unfortunately. Hopefully we should see testing begin soon, as that ride, in my opinion, I think late March, early April opening. Probably, that would be my guess. None of this is confirmed by the parks or anyone else. This is just me kind of trying to guess, like, what the parks are going to do, what the opening is. But we can also see in the Penguin Trek site that they are beginning to reroute the pathways to allow you to access the Empire of the Penguin realm from the other side again. But that realm, if you are going to SeaWorld, is completely closed off. I believe you can still go in and see the cold weather Antarctica penguins, but as for the actual land itself, no, you can't get in there at all. They're doing some construction in the land itself. Now, over at Epic Universe, we have, we finally got some concept art and other promotional material, to finally, like, show us kind of what is going in that park. Because, I mean, we've had an idea. There have been people guessing and, like, using permits and referencing everything for a couple of years now. And now Universal has finally released something in order to tell us, like, what's officially going into the site. And it looks amazing. Like, from all of the concept art, the model, the virtual fly-through of the park, everything that they are doing looks just literally out of this world. It's amazing, and it's crazy how fast they are going with construction. Like, construction on that park is so fast. It's, like, you blink and there's already trains on the track for almost every coaster except, like, Starfall Racers at this point. It's just insane, and it's amazing to see what they're able to do in such a short period of time to try and get this park open on time. Or on time for post-COVID scheduling. But, I'm just really excited for Epic Universe, like, the whole park in general. But as we have only received details for Celestial Park, I can definitely say Starfall Racers looks absolutely amazing. Like, it just looks like a phenomenal coaster, especially with that celestial spin element. It's going to be an absolutely amazing ride and great addition to the park. Also, the Constellation Carousel looks pretty neat. I mean, it's not like your typical standard carousel. It does have some different other rotating centrifuges besides just the main one spinning around. And some of the animals look really cool, as well as the stained glass roof. On top of just getting to explore Celestial Park is going to be, like, awesome, because it's just an entirely new land inside an entirely new theme park to explore and experience. So I would say Celestial Park definitely is one of my most anticipated lands out of them all. Now, as for the other Universal projects, Poseidon's Fury, which closed in May of last year, has seen no exterior work. Like, they have not touched the exterior. I imagine they've already done some demolition on the interior of the building, but yeah, no, it doesn't look like they're doing anything. And over at Studios, not in Islands, DreamWorks Land is coming along really quickly. They already have a lot of the theming up on Shrek's house, where his meet and greet will be. They already have a lot of the infrastructure in place for the Shrek little play area. as well as a lot of the queue for the roller coaster, as well as some of the theming on there. They're starting to, build up other theming pieces around the land. The only thing we really don't have a good idea of what it's going to be is the Kung Fu Panda area. Like, obviously it's not a boat ride or any kind of dark ride, but it just looks like they're kind of reusing the old Curious George structures. So it will be very interesting to see what they end up coming out with. Now back to the game for a second. As you can see, I'm kind of jumping around to both ends of the coaster. This part I really struggled with, trying to line everything up, trying to figure out how I wanted to work, because I wanted to make sure that I worked backwards at least a little bit from the brake run to try and, make sure everything lined up properly, but stuff just wasn't lining up, so I had to keep going back and reprofiling the turn coming off the Immelman and the splash, what will be the splashdown, and this was the biggest pain of the whole process, basically, was just getting this to where I wanted it, to get everything to line up, and honestly, it came out well. The only thing I'm not really happy with is I had to kind of turn the drop. Like you can see, I'm trying to turn the drop here, and I was hoping it wouldn't be noticeable on the ride, but yeah, no, it's a little bit noticeable when you're riding it, but I don't think it detracts too much from how much of a recreation it is. And with all that being said, looking into the future a little bit, because I have actually already started working on the custom supporting for the coaster. In the first video at least, I don't know if I'm going to do multiple videos of custom supporting, depends on how long it takes me to do the full custom supporting, but in that video you will see I actually go back and edit basically the entire second half of the course, from the drop off the mid-course into the turn into the final breaks. So basically just ignore everything I said prior to this. Now, with the way that Sheikra is positioned within Busch Gardens, there are a lot of other rides around it, like Tigress and the Flume. I don't know if I will be building any of those or not. Really, that's going to come down to whether or not I have enough space, as far as physical space, and also if I have enough percentage left on the really, really, really annoying Eugene and Oswald counter, which is a little icon. I'm not sure how well you can see it. At the bottom of the screen on the purple bar, there's an 8%, and that is how much I have, basically space, I guess, or storage or something I have left on this park, how much more I can build. So we'll just have to wait and see, once I finish with this whole, the actual Sheikra recreation part of it, and build the train station, the splashdown, this actual station for Sheikra, and the queue and everything, we'll have to see how much I have left to do. Now, I'm working on coloring the supports. As for this video, most of the track work is now finished, and I was actually really happy with how not only the support colors came out, but how the train came out, because it actually came out pretty close to what Sheikra itself looks like. Now, obviously we can't change the icon on the front, but I was able to get that little floor in the middle right. The restraint color came out perfectly for me, and I was really happy with that. Now, with the actual Sheikra, there is a dual loading station setup. Unfortunately, in real life, the ride has not been running 2 stations, and obviously I can't run 2 stations in Planet Coaster. That's just not possible in the game. But I will build the second station, or the front part of the station, Just that way it seems, like how the ride is currently running because of only being on one station, and they use the rear station, not the front station. So, but the thing that's going to be really interesting about this recreation is the fact that where you load into the trains is not actually, like, attached to the load platform, or it is, but it isn't. Like, you queue up in the, I call them, like, cattle chutes to get into the trains. You load on, like, a bridge over the queue, and Planet Coaster does not allow you to do that. So it's gonna be like a lot of the queue is going to be fake queue. That's just it. It's the sad truth about how this game is set up, is the fact that you can't really, change how you have your queue set up. So I'm going to have to fake most of the queue and, like, fake the bridges and everything to actually get onto the train. I mean, most of it's going to be just for show anyway. I am going to try and get riders on it, although the thing that takes up the most storage, I guess you could call it, basically, is pathing. So that's why you'll see I won't lay down any, like, actual paths that the guests in the game can walk on until the very end. But that's one of my issues with the game is, first of all, the counter, and second of all, the how much space pathing takes up. Because the only way you can get guests on a ride is by pathing the ride, or pathing a queue up to the ride. There is no other way to get guests on your coasters or attractions in this game besides building a queue out of the paths that they give you in the game. So, there's my little rant and gripe about Planet Coaster for this episode. But now I kind of just wanted to fly around and, show you kind of what got worked on this episode. Obviously this is just track work. I did go in and just build the tunnels for the trains to travel through, although Sheikra does not use physical terrain much, except for the drop, which I'm going to make that hole a lot smaller. It's not going to be as deep. But like here and for the splashdown, it's all mostly concrete. So I am going to have to do a completely custom tunnel and splashdown area. And because of the physics of the game, you can't build a physical splashdown with just the trains. You have to put in fountain effects to get that splash effect. So, that's all going to come a little bit later. The reason that, and I think I'll explain this a little bit more in the next episode, but the reason that I went back and edited the track later was because it didn't line up with the pathing system in the game. Like, it didn't line up at all. So, like, you were gonna have to walk through the drop to access the actual, like, water splash area of the coaster. So it didn't work out right. But that is all for this episode. I will leave you with one rough draft POV, just so you can get an idea of where the project is currently. And I will see you all next time on another adventure. Bye.